Hey, fellow travelers. Welcome to your reading. We're going to draw 3 cards, and we're going to draw 3 more, and then we're going to bring in crystals. This is the Ethereal Visions Tarot deck. We're going to be using that for the readings, and for the pick a card, we'll be using the Light Seer Tarot deck. Okay. Let's begin. So these 3 will not be revealed until the end of each reading. And then we will reveal these 3. Let's take a look. Okay, we have 10 of Pentacles for reading number 1. For reading number 2, we have 8 of Pentacles. This deck, I've shuffled it so many times, and yet it still has, it kind of sticks to itself. Like Pentacles stay with Pentacles, Wands stay with Wands. It's really interesting. And finally, we have the 4 of Pentacles. Man, maybe I should super shuffle this. I've shuffled this so many times. Well, we have all Pentacles here. And so for reading number 1, we have 10 of Pentacles, which is stable foundation. With 8 of Pentacles, we have kind of moving on to something new, letting go of an accomplishment so that you can go to bigger and brighter things. And finally, we have 4 of Pentacles, which is like holding on, frugality, kind of clinging to one's resources, but can also be kind of a connection to being mindful of where you spend your energy. Okay, so, or your attention. So in that case, I'll give it a moment, and we're going to add crystals to each reading so that you can choose based on how you resonate with the crystals as well. Okay, so for reading number 1, 10 of Pentacles, we have Blue Aventurine. Let's see if we can get a good look at that. Man, they're tiny. There we go. For reading number 2, we have 8 of Pentacles, where we have Malachite. And for reading number 3, I'm not sure what crystal this is. If you know, I'm not even sure if this is a crystal, but it sparkles and it's a nice color. If you know what crystal this is, let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if this is a crystal. It might be something man-made. Okay. But let me know if I'm wrong. I've just never seen a crystal like that before. All right, so these are the readings. I'll give you a moment to choose, and then we will start with reading number 1. Hey, pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the 10 of Pentacles and the Blue Aventurine. I hope it gets picked up, the blue. I'm not sure if you can see the blue. It looks kind of more dark than anything else. But let us know in the comments if you see the blue. And if you like crystals, I have actually a very big collection of crystals. I used to collect crystals as a child, and I still have them. I also collected a few as an adult, and I have some really neat crystals that I might be able to share with you guys and can be part of the pick a card process. These are smaller crystals. They're like a collection of colorful crystals that I thought would work well, but they're kind of small for the camera. So, all right, let's take a look at what's in the heart, what's in the underlying, the emotional aspects of self. Well, there's a shock right now. There was a recent, or right now, a real shock to you, a shock to the system, a feeling of just emotional shock. This is not a specific element of like tower crumbling. This is in the emotional basis. This is just quite a shocking moment for you, and a surprise. There was a surprise in the past. You were being protective in some way, inherently protective, intuitively protective in the past, and it could have something to do with very strong masculine energy. Okay, being connected and in tune with very strong masculine energy. because we have the Emperor leading to the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles in this specific deck has the shield up, is armored, is very much ready to protect their land, their resources, their energy. But now we have this shock because we have the Tower. Right now, is there something that's happened recently that's shocking for you, that you were surprised by, that's something that you didn't, like, just kind of came out of the blue, just came out of nowhere? That would be the feeling here right now. Okay. Now the feelings in the future, what are we going to feel? We're going to feel a sense of movement. You know, the Chariot's a fascinating one. It's got the polarity involved. It is something of a vehicle related situation. But it's movement in a way where it's kind of like where one thing goes one way, the other goes the other. You know, there's like almost like a timer with a sand timer, where the sand moves in one direction, but then it flips and moves in the other. Or if you see something sliding past in one direction where something's sliding in the other way, there is some kind of movement, but the direction is sometimes unknown. You know, this is a nighttime. You have the night here. This is a balancing act in many ways. One where there is movement, but the direction is not always the emphasis. Interesting. Okay. We're moving forward to Two of Wands. So, surveying the land. You know, there's a decision to be made in the future, and this is that emotional state where you're kind of just looking at what is. Like, what's happening? Where can we go with this? What are the options? It's not necessarily one or two. You know, it's more like we've gotten some experience and now it's like, okay, there's a spark of energy. There's motivation and drive, but where does that direction go? And kind of with this Chariot, it's almost like you got a new car and you're like about to go on a road trip, but you don't know where you want to go. That's kind of the feeling here. Or you just got the courage, you're like, I'm going to go on an adventure. You've decided that there's going to be movement, but the direction hasn't been chosen yet. There's a feeling of excitement in something. It might not even be physical location. It could be relationships. It could be projects you want to choose to put your time and effort in. It's the path of your life that you're choosing in this emotional state. This is an emotional connection to what it is that's happening above. It's below, it's unseen, but it's felt. Let's draw 5 more cards. Okay. Well, movement really seems to be the theme here because we have 8 of Wands. That's you. You want to move. You want to do something. Maybe you want to travel or you want to exercise. There's some real like motion involved in this reading. Something might make you want to run from a situation because you have this shock and you have this like kind of, you want to get on your horse and just, you know, breeze away, fly away. What might have caused that feeling? Let's take a look. Well, some kind of disappointment in the past. Something has been disappointing, but 5 of Cups is one of those cards. It's like the 5s are kind of setbacks that are also have silver linings. In this case, we have 5 of Cups, where something happened where there was a loss, but there was so much still there. And the true dream, the true vision that someone has is still within the horizon and still able to be accessed. There might be some challenges, like passing over some kind of threshold, some kind of barrier, like a river, but that requires commitment to that challenge. There is going to be effort required for us to reach that pavilion, that castle in the sky in the mountains. So just because some things didn't work out doesn't mean there aren't more things involved here. But the emotion to run away or the emotion to leave a situation can very much be the appropriate one. That's not necessarily not true, but there are not all is lost here, is really the card's main focus. So there's a proud energy with this masculine energy, a feeling of masculine energy within, like feeling the masculine energy within and being proud of accomplishments. This could be some real material accomplishments, some things that are more on the surface in the past. But it led to something else, like perhaps there was some real good times and those times have kind of faded, and now you want to move on to something new. Where is this leading us with the Chariot? Let's take a look. We have the Queen of Cups. So a more nurturing, a more intuitive, real command over intuitive capabilities of being able to divine what needs to be done, what's going to happen next. There's a sense of being emotionally available here. There's a movement towards being just really within oneself too, especially with this Queen of Cups in this deck. Being present with oneself and really truthful to oneself. There's a strong energy there. And with this movement back and forth, we're kind of looking for where to go, like where to do, where to put our love, our affection, our time, and our presence. Where do we put that? Because there's so much energy here with this, and it's balanced too. This feels like a serene, balanced energy coming up, really serene. Okay, we have the Devil card, which is kind of a surprise. But actually it's not. I mean, this is one of those things where when you're looking for where to go with a situation, I want to say honesty is the best policy here. Be truthful to yourself about what it is that you want, and be truthful to others about what it is that you want as well. In this case, this situation is you're surveying where to go, and the Devil is that card that can kind of get in the way of your best self. Your truly actualized, realized self. And what we want to do here is remember that the elements of self that we want to avoid can be replaced by new forms of the self. So better ways to remove habits instead of just trying to stop a habit is to replace it with something new. So if you play video games or if you procrastinate on things, one thing that can be done to replace that is instead of when you first get home, for example, and you go on your phone, you could say the first thing you do when you get home is write down the things you need to get done the next day, or write down the things you want to get done that night. Or, you can read a little bit. You can say, I want to spend some time learning about something new instead of just mindlessly searching. Because there's an emotional search element. Well, I'm going off on a rant there, but if you have, let's say you go on your phone and you just start scrolling, that can be an emotional connection to search, which might not have an aim. But if we apply an aim to it and you have a deliberate thing you want to learn, you're spending your time searching on something that you actually want to integrate with yourself. And that's something that can be done with being mindful of the Devil card. The Devil card is a reminder. It's an opportunity to find those things about ourselves that we realize are not our highest self, and to find ways to integrate higher levels of ourselves into those places that we feel we don't want to be anymore. So, that being said, let's draw 5 more. Also, I don't want to forget we still have that hidden card underneath the Ten of Pentacles that will hopefully clarify more of this energy. It's kind of interesting to move away from the masculine towards the feminine, but then we have this challenge of self, this looking at ourselves and trying to improve ourselves in a very profound way. Okay. So this is more in the spiritual elements, what's on the mind. The card didn't want to let go. Let's open that. Let's reveal this card first. So in the past, this masculine, look at these masculine cards, these Nine of Cups, proud of one's material accomplishments, the Emperor, command over one's domain, emotional command over one's domain. You know, you might have been in a situation where you had to be hard. You had to be in command of your emotions. If something happened, you couldn't respond so negatively. You had to really just be stoic and just kind of have strong grit to kind of, I want to say, white knuckle it, like hold on to it very strongly. And there's a Knight of Swords energy, so really moving forward with an idea that has been kind of developed a little bit and understood, and just kind of dashing forward with it and being proud of one's accomplishments. There could have probably been a lot to do with career in the past in that situation. We have more swords in the sword. This is where swords belong, really. You know, you have wands here, pentacles here, and then you would have cups down here. Okay, so interestingly enough, I mean, they all belong where they fall, but this is just where they would be most naturally aligned. We have thought, decisions, the concept of mind elements in the mindful region of the consciousness, the spiritual realm. What decisions are being made? Well, there's a new idea because we have Ace of Swords, a new idea that came with this disappointment and a defensive response. Okay. And then that shocking realization, moving towards movement. Okay. There's a conscious understanding with this new idea that something needs to be let go. Because we have the Three of Wands, where you have someone surveying the river floating down. Now, in other cards, in other decks, there normally are ships sailing down. I'm not sure if I can find it quickly in another deck, but essentially, yeah, here we go. We have Three of Wands from the Classic Tarot deck, Lewin's Classic Tarot. We have this figure watching the ships floating off into the distance. It's kind of a sign of needing to let go of something. Perhaps in a career setting, it would be delegating. You need to delegate more, or being consciously aware of delegation being important. But it could also be letting go of things that you've been holding on to that aren't serving you well. Okay. And this letting go is kind of be letting go of where you are in a certain place and moving on to a different location. We have lots of choices in this more serene moment in the future, this more, letting things move as they should, ins and outs, but we have the Queen of Cups here and Seven of Cups, which means we're going to have some emotional choices to be made. Now, see, we have the castle here again in the distance. Being mindful of the castle that we're looking for, that cathedral in the sky that we want to build, that long-term goals energy, that's there. And we can turn around. All these choices here might be distractions that might be tied to this card here. These distractions of material possessions are not truthfully what you want. What you want is that castle in the background. All right. And then we have Three of Swords. So being mindful of where you need to heal. So this isn't in this plane, but remember, Three of Swords is one of those. Actually, we're getting a couple big scaries, right? We have the Tower, the Devil, the Three of Swords. I guess the Ten of Swords would be another one. These are cards that are opportunities for being aware of the existence of these elements of life. Now, Three of Swords is of heartbreak, of just emotional despair in some ways, but it's not necessarily something that happened to you or is going to happen to you. It's something that you're aware of from the past. I mean, look at this. We have the Tower now. There was this kind of movement energy away. This could be something that you're able to, you needed space and time, but now you're going to be able to approach it and actually heal. The Three of Swords is actually the card of opportunity for healing. And that's what we're going to be seeing soon. So there's this opportunity for you to face yourself. You're strong now. You're surveying yourself from within. And that's something that's really important here. You're going to find really serene moments coming up, and that's going to allow you moments to kind of find yourself. That's what's happening here. We're finding ourselves. Interestingly enough, we also want to find out what this mysterious card is. And hopefully it will apply some clarification to the rest of the reading to see what we got here. The moon. Okay. So the moon is fascinating. The moon is, the ins and outs, the unknowns and the knowns. But with the moon, there's going to be a sense of something unknown. So perhaps this is one of those things where you're kind of running and running and running, and it's time to turn around and look inside and see put some light on what's in the depths, of this emotional plane. You're going to be surveying it. And this card seems to be the most important. The Two of Wands in the emotional plane. You're going to be surveying what it is about yourself emotionally that's causing this desire or this need to almost run away or almost panic in some ways, but not necessarily like real panic, but just like something that you're kind of avoiding. This is going to allow you, you're going to find yourself in a peaceful place where you can survey yourself and truly find that moment of healing. Group number 1, this has been your reading. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. I also love comments, so any comments are greatly welcome. All right, take care. Bye. Hey, pile number 2, welcome to your reading. You chose the 8 of Pentacles and the Malachite crystal. I'm going to draw 5 cards to begin with. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. Okay, currently in the heart, in the soul. Deep within, the subconscious, in our emotional plane. What do we have currently? The World. Wow, so some real accomplishments from within, some real life-changing accomplishments. You've gone through a full journey, a full cycle. Wow. Beautiful. You know what's what. You have gone through quite a lot. But you should be proud of it. I mean, this is exciting. This is great. This is beautiful. In the past, we had 4 of Cups. So really practicing gratitude might have been what brought you to this point. The 3 of Cups, the 4 of Cups has this figure observing the 3 cups in front of them, unaware of the 4th cup coming in. Oftentimes, in 3 of Cups, or 4 of Cups, the figure is a little sad, is a little downtrodden, is not happy with everything that they've accomplished, is not happy with everything they have, but there's a new cup flying in. There's a new emotional beginning flying in, but they're not aware of it. Even though they're sad, they're not aware of this new thing coming in soon. But in this deck, the figure is a little more contemplative, a little more meditative. This is a great card to remind us of gratitude, of being grateful for what we have and who's in our lives and the moments we share that are joyful. Now, the World is one of true accomplishment, of true going through a whole life cycle, like a whole cycle of emotions, finding the thing that's needed in order to elevate oneself to the next experience, the next plane of existence, the next element that they need to address or find or lead towards. But this is truly a celebration moment here. So gratitude leading to celebration. Oh, and we have the King of Wands in the past. So in this plane here, what we have is someone who's really has ingenuity, someone who is able to figure out things with what they have and just intuitively knows how to fix a problem with the resources that are available to them. someone who's rather creative and charismatic. You might have had someone like that in your life that you were in tune with, or this might have been something you were embodying within oneself. Oftentimes here, it's embodiment. It's you're feeling this charisma, this courage to take on projects, not knowing if you're going to be able to fix them, but having the confidence that you will find a way. This is a very strong lion fire energy. We have the wands here. Then we move into more fluid, more water. The emotional cups. Cups live very well in this area. Sometimes having wands in the lower plane is just a more driving force, emotional motivation. What's this leading towards? Okay, so we have a moment of healing. This is something that's ready. This card has been coming out a lot lately. The Three of Swords is in so many readings lately, I've noticed. But what we have here is not so much a heartbreak that's going to happen, but a moment where you're going to be aware of an opportunity to heal past heartbreak. And that leads to the Hierophant, which is nice to see here. The Hierophant is one of tradition, is one of practicing values that have been passed along in the past, the tried and true in many ways. In this case, the Hierophant is really looking at a serene, calm moment of taking a traditional path. I want to say like an ethically traditional path, something that's going to allow you to just basically, in a stoic way, like finding the values that you embody, and then really being strict with your process in following that, following those rules, those kind of traditional rules. This might not necessarily be tradition that a traditional way of saying tradition, but rather a habitual way of aligning yourself with more strong suited parameters or rules. You're setting into place a boundary system that you're going to want to follow, almost like a pact with yourself, so that you follow the path you want. This is a very strong start. We have a big bad card here, and when I say that, I mean it in tongue in cheek. It's the scary Three of Swords here. We have the World right next to it, and then we have some Kings and the Hierophant. So some pretty high Arcana cards, like the major Arcana cards, and really fascinating mix of gratitude and healing, leading to kind of a wish upon a star, but then setting your sights to that star situation, that alignment with that star. You have that star in the horizon that you want to follow, and you're going to set some rules for yourself so that you get there, that you follow that star. It's interesting that you chose Eight of Pentacles, one of kind of passing opportunities that you had already achieved. Like you had achieved a moment or a place where you have opportunities, but you're passing up on those opportunities for an unknown but a dream. And that kind of lies in here with the Hierophant. You have that that wish upon a star dream, and you're going to have to give up something in order to reach that. This could be a healing way, though. I want to say like a healing but parting of ways kind of situation. One where both parties actually find a connection with each other that can last, even when the two parties go separate ways. It could also be, not necessarily a romantic relationship. It could be career partnership. It could also be a dream you had. You could have multiple dreams. And this is one of those times where, in order to heal, letting go of one of those dreams to actually pursue the other one is going to be necessary. But you are someone who's accomplished so much emotionally. You're a truly emotionally accomplished person that you're ready for this new path. That's interesting. All right, let's see what we got here. Very emotional beginning here. very strong emotions in this plane. Okay. So currently we have Five of Swords. So a moment of reflection is necessary in this situation. Five of Swords is kind of like you've been working towards something and then there was a mild setback or feedback that wasn't what you expected, but it was one that is constructive. Emotionally, you're very resilient. You're very ready for this kind of feedback. This is actually potentially what's going to tie in with the Eight of Pentacles, where this feedback is what's going to allow you to choose the new pathway forward. This is to let go of the old, one of the other paths in order to move forward in the other one. So let's go through the past here. We have the Ten of Cups with the Four of Cups. So you're very grateful potentially for your family. You might have some support from friends or family that's really giving you a sense of gratitude for them and for your situation. This was in the past. There was a little bit of a wait. You were very confident, but you were waiting. And now you had support from family or support from friends, gave you a home kind of environment. That gratitude is something that was part of the process that you had when you really were coming into your own and fully realizing yourself at a certain stage in life. This is one of those big stages of life, and you've kind of reached this new stage and you're ready for the next thing, but you're getting some feedback that's going to give you a new direction. Here we have Judgment. So we were talking about letting go of one path or one relationship for another. Judgment is kind of a moment to reflect on oneself. Tying in with Five of Swords, you might get some feedback that made you realize you need to change something about yourself, but it's also something of release. It's letting go. Look at that serenity in the face of the what looks like the clouds or the sky. There's this sense of being at peace with where things are flowing, where things are going. It might be something where you're allowed to sit with your sadness, allowed to sit with a little bit of heartbreak, but you know you're going in the right path. But there's many choices. There's lots of choices. We always have lots of choices, right? This is an interesting card, this card in this deck. The Seven of Cups typically has a lot of different options floating in the sky, like there's all sorts of things in each cup. In this case, the cups tend to be all kind of with a caveat, with some small text, with some but. There's a but with each decision. However, there's another decision, and it's in the background. If you look closely, you can see in the clouds, you have that cathedral, you have that castle, that dream that you want, being truthful to yourself, letting go of this mask and moving towards that dream is what's going to allow you to find the star, that star that you dream of. Yeah, what is it that you want to do? Pile number 2. Where is it that you're trying to go? Who is it you're trying to be with? What kind of relationship are you trying to have? These are the big questions that Seven of Cups are kind of asking us right now. Because you're finding yourself, you're letting go of so much. And now the question is, what do you want? You've become someone quite exceptional. And you're capable of taking this feedback with stride, really. Emotionally, there's going to be some healing involved, some letting go. It's healing through parting. I just want to keep saying that. Interesting. Not exactly sure what that is yet. Maybe we can clarify. But it is kind of like deciding which path really is for you. And that's important. The Seven of Cups coming in strong here with the Hierophant underlying it. There's this path you want to take, There's a path you've dreamt of taking. What is that path? You've dreamt of taking this path. You got to give up something, though. What is that you have to give up? Let us know in the comments. I want to hear what it is that your dream is. What is your dream? Because you have an opportunity here within yourself to follow that dream. That option is there, being truthful to yourself, letting go of the mask and looking behind, being wary of all of the options, having these second halves to them. There's a two sides to each coin here. I just want to take a deep breath. Like, wow. Something's telling me like this is a moment to like take a deep breath, not to get too anxious about the situation, but to think about it. It's like, yeah, maybe if you're thinking about how you haven't been following your dreams, it can kind of hit hard, you know? Or if you're realizing, wow, I spent so much time on this one path thinking it would get me to this dream and it hasn't, that can be a stressful realization. But we can take a deep breath and realize what we were learning on this path is going to give us some elements of experience, some elements of knowledge and life lessons that we wouldn't have learned otherwise if we had gone a more direct route. No path should be just a straight line. We want to explore and see different pathways, go to the side, experience something new with someone else, with a different project, with a different job, a new location, traveling to another country, stuff like that. That's what we want to explore so that when we do find that final piece that we're looking for, that piece, that star that we're searching for, we have accumulated a wealth of understanding that we can bring along with us on that main path. And there's multiple paths that can be a main path, and the main path can change over time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be so high stakes here. Because the lived experience, that traveling that we're doing, finding these truths for ourselves is something that we're all trying to communally do in ways that are going to require some experimentation and exploration. Okay, we have this Wheel of Fortune. Wow. Okay, a Wheel of Fortune with the world. How about that? You have fate on the mind. You know, maybe this is like twin flame energy. I don't normally use that term, but we're talking about like dreaming of a twin flame. This is dreaming of love, dreaming of just that, like almost finding the buried treasure for some of you. For some of you, it's getting that job, that status job that you know provides stability. You know, it's not necessarily the job, the treasure, it's the what comes with that now, right? It's the freedom, it's the if you could do anything you want kind of energy with this Wheel of Fortune. Now, the moment of caution with the Wheel of Fortune, there's a life lesson with the Wheel of Fortune that's really beautiful, is there's this circle, the wheel, right? And it's spinning. It's spinning with the ebbs and flows of life, right? Sometimes you're on top, sometimes you're on the bottom. But if you're able to find your way to the center, you're able to ground yourself. You're able to find things that provide stability, provide strength, that can be resilient in times of change. Then you're going to be in a much better position than even if you were on the outside moving upwards. Because now you can choose when to go to the outside and move up. You can choose to know where you're going, what you're doing. And that kind of energy, that strength, that practice of becoming grounded and centered is the life lesson of Wheel of Fortune. Okay, we have 4 of Swords here in the past, as well as the Well. The Well is an oracle card. If you've never seen it, it's special to this deck. Okay, so the Well is a wellspring of ideas. You know, you were very creative. You were thinking creatively. Something happened that allowed you to be more in a stable position and rest. You know, you kind of maybe went home. You went home. Maybe you're in college and you went home, or maybe you went back to see friends or relatives and you've just staying there. That feeling of being, protected is really strong in this column, and being grateful for everybody. So you might have gone out in the world and then you had to wait So that instead of just continuing onwards, you came back. You came back. It could also be you came back to yourself. You might have tried many different things. You were creative and expressive, but now you're coming back to yourself. You're coming back to where you are at home. But that cycle has circled around to be where you are emotionally really in having fulfilled quite a lot. The future positions, we have stability on the mind. So you really were resting your mind. You had kind of fortune in your thoughts. And here we have the Ten of Swords. So interestingly, we have the Ten of Swords at the end of a cycle. And that's beautiful. Your emotional cycle, you're halfway through, you've completed it just now, and now you're starting a new one that's going to be really setting your sights for that star, that path. But you're also having thoughts or ideas about stability that you're going to be letting go of. The Ten of Swords is a true, this is no longer the mindset that we want to have. It's a very graphic card that's actually more about mental states, more about thought process. This is, you've gone as far as you can go with an idea. This is it. See, we're on the edge of the ocean, and this is as far as one idea can go. It's time for a new one. It's time for a boat. I don't know why I said that. It's time for a boat. Okay. Well, maybe you gotta go across an ocean to follow that star. Oh, man. Well, let's take a look here. What is the unknown card? We have the Hangman again. Okay, so we have the Hangman and the Hangman. What a beautiful one with that performance, like I don't know what it's called, but when you're in that like big ribbon, or it's like almost like dancing in the air, Beautiful interpretation. One where you know when to let go. You know when to let go. That's the Hangman. You can see, with this card, you can see the light around her head because she's enlightened. And same with the Hangman here. You can see the light around his head. He's waiting for when to let go of that string. And then everything will set into place. So you know when to move on from where you are now. Or you will know when the timing's right. And you're going to be letting go of some things, but moving towards what really has been the dream in your heart, that wish upon a star dream. Okay, pile number 2. This has been your reading. Please let us know, what is that dream of yours? I'd love to hear it. All right, I'll take care. See you soon. Bye. Hey, pile number 3, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Four of Pentacles, the hidden card, and this crystal. I'm not sure what kind of crystal this is. If you know what this is, if this is a crystal, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what this is. Here, let's get a little closer so you can take a look at it. Ooh, my terrible nails. Need to cut my nails. But look at that. There we go. A crystal. Not sure what it is. Ooh, I need a manicure or something. All right. So, let's draw some cards. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I have a confession to make. I peeked at the hidden card here. I don't know why, like just for this one, I didn't peek for the other two. So because of that, I will draw a extra card that we can reveal at the end, where we both don't know what the card is. I've done this once before, and I was actually asking them, I remember this reading, like it was a while ago, but what are you the kind of person who likes to read the end of a book before you begin reading? Because that's the kind of energy I get when I do that. It's kind of like you want to peek at the end of the story and see what happens there, huh? But yeah, that's just me. Sometimes I read just the last like paragraph of a book, and I will have no idea. I'll have no idea what what the actual context of the ending is. You just get that last sentence of the story. And it just kind of gives you an interesting like perspective of just not knowing what's happening, and yet you kind of do. And you forget about it when you start reading the book. When I start reading it, I just completely forget what that last paragraph was all about. But it's kind of interesting. And then you read the whole book and you get to the last chapter and you start to remember. It starts to like fade back in. It's like, oh yeah, I read that last page. And then the page just kind of has a whole different meaning after you've read the book. It's fascinating. I recommend it if you don't do it. I recommend doing it for one book, at least trying that. All right, so how are you feeling right now? What's the feeling? Well, joy, some form of joy. There's a reason to be happy here. There's a reason to be jubilant. It might have come from having nurtured your resources, having put thought and care into the resources you have, and being able to nurture that care in others has allowed you to kind of celebrate a little bit, or perhaps be just a little bit joyful or fun, having a little bit of play involved in a situation, because we have the Knight of Cups. Queen of Pentacles leading into Knight of Cups. Preceding the Queen of Pentacles, we had the Ace of Wands. So there was quite a lot of motivation in the past. There was a lot of motivation in the past. And right now we're kind of taking maybe a break, maybe not. But this feels right now, emotionally, this feels like a story of career, finances, could be just energy in general, but because we chose the Four of Pentacles, which is kind of holding on to one's resources, and then we have the Queen of Pentacles coming out next to what could be a very kind of freelance, self-starting kind of energy, someone who's kind of works for themselves almost, with the Ace of Wands. And now we're joyful. We're feeling joy. Right now there's joy. And that could come from having put in that nurturing work. Not necessarily the rise and grind, but more I'm going to save a little bit. I'm not going to spend my money on this yet. Or I'm going to put this in a maybe pile rather than a just jump and buy it kind of situation. And that leads to some really beautiful energy in the future. We have the sun coming in. So you're going to feel warmth inside. You're going to feel that like just internal peace and a feeling of like when you're out in the sun. Do you know that feeling when you're just out in the sun? You're laying in the sun and you're just soaking in the sun, getting warm. That feeling is on the inside too. That inner light is there as well. That abundance comes from within, and that's what's the feeling that we're going to be getting in the future. That abundance coming in. Yeah. And with that sun, we're going to be growing some crops here because we have the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is seeing progress being made, but it's the beginning. It's learning how to grow this plant, how to water it correctly, how to get the fertilizer, and when to leave it outside if it's an indoor plant, when to get it outside. I know bonsais, you need to be outside a lot of the time, actually. Many bonsais need to be outside. You see them on the inside all the time and they're all trimmed, but actually a lot of them are trees that need to grow and they look kind of unruly half the time that they're outside, and before they get trimmed, they actually look kind of just like little bushes in a pot, but then you trim them to look like that really intricate tree. But they need to be outside. They need the sun. This is something of needing energy coming in from yourself. This is within, though. So this is growth within. This is energy coming in. It's not coming in. It's coming from within. It's coming from within. But don't forget to like soak in the sun sometimes. Get some sunlight. If it's I know right now for me it's the winter time, so getting the sun when you have a chance is quite a good idea. Okay, but this sunlight is growing in, it's providing the energy for a new form of emotional well-being. You're kind of catering to yourself. It's self-care in many ways, strong self-care. And you are finding new ways to take care of yourself, certain things that work better for you and certain things that don't. You're going to be working through those things, but your abundance of within, that abundance of self-love is coming from you. Beautiful. All right, we're going to draw five more, not three. What was that? I bumped into the table there and made a little chime sound. Okay, so transformation. You are transforming right now. We have the death card as the general theme of you right now. And the death card, we're going to take a look at another card from another deck. The death card, this is not a traditional look for the card, but the actual more traditional look is one that has the sun rising in the background. It's a reminder that there's a new day coming. This isn't just about the loss of something. This is about the transformation of something into something else. This is about the transformation. And here a new day is coming. See, this is a more traditional style of the card. You can see the sun in the background between the two towers. So this is the transformation right now. Actually, I'm going to put that one here because I think this is a better depiction from this. I think this is one of my favorite decks, but the death card I feel like needs a little bit more sun. A little bit more sun in it. So, in the past we have Seven of Swords and Ace of Swords. Interesting. What new beginning happened in the past? Because we have this alignment of aces here, rather strong alignment. You could have a new idea that spurred a lot of motivation, but that's allowing you to, maybe you're saving for something big. Ooh, another chime there. You're saving for something big. This could be borrowing of ideas. I often don't look at Seven of Swords as trickery or deception or thief. It's actually more, there's a few different interpretations, but one of a more historical context is this. Some think that this card is actually referring to a historical event where someone stole the swords from, or at least a story of when someone stole the swords from two warring parties so that they could not battle each other. And then they had to talk out the situation. It was a putting down your swords kind of energy and talking things out or figuring out new ideas or following other people's ideas, borrowing ideas. But the idea is that ideas can be spread. It doesn't have to be something stolen. It can be something that can, if taken from someone else, actually becomes two. It's like two different torches. The torch of enlightenment. You can light someone else's torch with yours, and you can move forward with two now torches lit. That's the kind of energy here that's happening. And then we're transforming. We truly are transforming here. This is a transformational moment, and you're feeling it joyfully. This is nothing bad here. Look at everything else around you. You have so much. You have the aces. You have the Knight of Cups. You have Queen of Pentacles, Sun, and then you have Seven of Pentacles, which is a very positive card. This is leading to, well, there's going to be some setback kind of feelings. Sometimes, nothing's going to be perfect, but this is not a bad card. We have the Five of Cups, where 3 cups have spilled. There's still 2 that haven't, and if the figure looks behind them, they'd see the true dream in the distance is actually just across the river. It might need some commitment and some work to get there, but it's right there. That leads to stability, because we have the Four of Wands. So this is a transformational moment, one where the sun is shining within you. You are caring for yourself. You truly are. You're growing, and you're becoming someone who spends more time looking at a more nurturing perspective of a situation, allowing you to kind of have a more peacefully, slow, growing, stable relationship with oneself. Beautiful. This is a beautiful reading. What is this new beginning? What was this idea you had? I would love to leave a comment if anything's popping in your mind of an idea that kind of spurred you to start to nurture your resources more, nurturing them and nurturing yourself too. The sun, we're going to put the sun here. That's like one of my favorite cards in this deck. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's draw 5 more cards, okay? And then we'll have 2 mysterious cards. One that I actually don't even remember which one it was now. What was I saying with when you're reading the book You kind of forget what that last chapter was or that last page was. As you're reading it, it just fades away. It's kind of interesting. That just happened for me. So now we're kind of back on the same page, but you get an extra card. Okay. So, Wheel of Fortune in the same position as, was it last reading or the reading before? You might want to see reading 1 or 2, whichever one had the Wheel of Fortune here, because this is exactly where Wheel of Fortune was before. Everything else is different, but this is kind of interesting. The Wheel of Fortune is on the mind right now. Fortune is on the mind. If Fortune is on the mind, you might want to check out the other reading, whichever one it was. We have the King of Wands. Okay. And the Well of the same position. Okay. Interesting. Okay, same position. Was this the same reading as the one with the Wheel of Fortune? My memory is gone right now. Well, either way, I would look back on the other 2 readings just to see which one matches with this energy, because it might add extra clarification. Okay. We have the Well, which is a creation, a wellspring of ideas. I mean, it makes so much sense with these 2 aces. The wellspring of ideas, we have the Ace of Swords, a new idea that you had recently or in the past. I mean, this actually more is in the past. This would be more recent, but a new idea brought forth this path, this story that we're seeing, and it added so much motivation. But in the mind was where it came from, this wellspring of ideas. Perhaps it was more than one. It was a lot of ideas that came very quickly, which gave you the confidence. We have this nurturing king and queens here. We have the King of Wands with the Queen of Pentacles. Really interesting dynamic here. You're on the mind as this King of Wands. This could be somebody in your life. This could also be your perspective on being a problem solver. Being a problem solver while at the same time nurturing your energy. Interesting. This is like a path of self-growth, but it could also be a path of like just very, material, growing one's resources, growing one's, I want to say empire, but that doesn't make too much sense here. But growing one's ability to really create a stable environment for oneself. Say stable with the 4 of Wands. Okay, the Hanged Man. Yeah, this is interesting. A lot coming up from the other readings. And then the Hermit. Okay, so you might want to be, I don't know, I want to say for some of you, you might be considering going on a retreat, going on vacation, maybe just with a few friends or even alone, something where you're kind of just relaxing with nature, more so than connecting with like city life or something like that. This would be like on the beach kind of energy a little bit, because we have the Sun and we have this 7 of Pentacles kind of growing one's self-care. You're kind of waiting. You're waiting. Maybe there's something where you're hoping to do something at a certain time in the past, but you had to wait. So now you're patient. You're going to be patient. You're going to take the steps when they need to be taken, because this is a slow and steady. We're going to look at what the situation is, and we're going to move forward with it once everything's been lit up and understood. Remember, the Hermit is wise, and so is the Hanged Man. The wisdom comes from within, too. This light is oftentimes in other decks shows the Hermit holding the light inside them, or like close to themselves, because the light's coming from within. And that's really what you see when the Sun is in this position on the board or on the table. You see the Sun coming from within rather than shining down or shining around. It's coming from within. Interesting. I didn't do this for the other 2 readings. You're getting a lot of extra cards. I'm going to do a little bit of clarification. We're just going to draw 3 cards. Okay, in the past, we have another ace. We have the Ace of Pentacles here with the Queen of Pentacles. So this really is like you're thinking in the past about how to make money in some ways, how to develop more resources. This is something that can be nurtured. You can nurture it through savings, or you can work through it with problem solving, making more money by solving other people's problems. But you're really hoping for some good fortune here. That's on the mind. So what's going on with that? Well, we have movement. You want to perhaps you want to travel, we have the Eight of Wands. And then that leads to the Queen. Oh, Justice. No, not the Queen of Swords, Justice. So the Justice is the Queen and the King of Swords combined. It's the ability to really delineate and decide what to do about a situation based not just on intuition, but also on intellect. So, articulated reasoning. These two dynamics merge together within Justice so that you can make the best decision possible. And seeing you have the Hanged Man on the mind, you're realizing you have to wait a little bit in the future. Even though within you feel great, you're going to feel great, but you have to wait a little bit. And that might be why you have the disappointment, but you have to wait a little bit before the next step is taken. But it's going to grow. It's going to grow steadily, and it's going to be a stable growth here. And it's one where you're finally going to be able to go on that retreat or that vacation of some sort. This is interesting. We do have a lot of saving money on the mind. So that does seem to be this reading. However, it could also be, this is a self-growth reading as well. It's one where you are developing your patience, you're developing your impulse control. Like if you're on Amazon and you're searching for something and you're like, oh, I want that, but it wasn't what you were really looking for, you're not going to buy it immediately like you might have in the past. These are some new ideas of like how you want to live your life. So you're realizing that these resources you had that you would have spent pretty quickly otherwise need to be slowed down so that you can accumulate the necessary things for what you really want in the future. Okay, so I'm going to reveal this card since I already know what it is, but I can't remember what it is. I can't even guess. Like I wouldn't even be able to guess right now, like which card this is. Is it man, what was it? Oh, it's coming to me. It was a wand. It was wands. What was it? Was it? Oh, was it Eight of Wands? I don't remember. All right, let's take a look. Seven of Wands. I was close. Okay, so it was coming to me. Yeah, well, we have Seven of Wands here. And that, I want to say retreat. That might be why I was saying it, because you have this meditating woman here. Interesting. You're also standing your ground. So this is something where you're going to be pretty, you're going to be standing your ground in a good way. This is one of those times where you're standing your ground against yourself sometimes, against the impulses of what you want to buy sometimes, but also you're going to be standing your ground against people who say, hey, are you sure you want to do this? You really are going to be, standing up for yourself in this situation. This is a self-growth story for sure. For sure. Okay. And finally, a card neither of us know. We have one more card that's going to hopefully clarify what's going on with this reading. Although I do see this reading as somewhat straightforward, but let's take a look. What do we have here? We have the Queen of Cups. So a lot of nurturing, but also intuition. So when you have something that can be articulated, you're going to know, especially you're going to be wise, and you're just going to gut feeling know in your heart when it's time to move on to what you want to do, when it's time to purchase that item, to go on that vacation, to go on that retreat. When is that the time to do it? Well, you will know in your heart, and you're going to be standing your ground on when you do it. Okay, group number 3, this has been your reading. If you enjoyed it, please, chimes here, I should turn off my phone. Please leave a comment and let us know, what is this thing that you're saving up for? You're saving your energy for something, and it's one that's going to bring a lot of joy. So let us know, what is it that you're saving your energy for, you're saving your resources for? Love to hear about it. Okay, take care. Bye.